Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. So the paid request is time for Kyle. Thank you so much for that, for your generosity, and to everyone out there. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. It could be review, re-review, topic, reaction, commentary, video game, a try or a playthrough, whatever the case. This is for George of the Jungle 2 from 2003, which George of the Jungle did well in theaters, but I think did fairly well in VHS. I know I saw it on VHS back in the day. But at the same time, I don't know why it would take them 6 years. Because that was 97. This came out 2003. So even if you want to say, okay, let's say around 1998 it came on VHS. And then after a while, it did well. That's still 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. Like, we're going to do a sequel, and not only that, it's going to be this direct-to-video movie. That there is no Brendan Fraser. Instead, it's this guy named Christopher Showerman. And let me put it this way. The best joke is in the first 5 minutes where the narrator goes, "Who are you?" And the guy goes, "Studio too cheap to pay Brendan Fraser." Now, granted, I don't know if that's the reason why Brendan Fraser didn't do it, or he went, well, we don't really need a sequel. Which is true. I mean, not everything needs a sequel. But yeah, it is a direct-to-video film, and not only do you have no Brendan Fraser, you have no Leslie Mann. Instead, it's Julie Benz. I mean, is that the girl that would be in Rambo 4, Julie Benz? Is that the same one? The only two people that come back is John Cleese voices an ape named Ape. And Thomas Haden Church comes back. And I guess you say he's the main villain, but also Julie Benz, her character Ursula's mom, she's also kind of a villain as well. And that right there kind of, to go back a bit, shows the inconsistency of this film, where they stop to notice that there's a different George, but it doesn't stop to notice that there's a different girl, Ursula. There's a different Ursula. Like, why do you stop for one, but you don't stop for the other? I mean, they're both different. It's like either it makes the narrator too stupid, or the writer's too dumb, or... That's for me, it is... Not only is the script a lot poorer, and yet it then does have a plot that you don't really know where it's going. It's kind of wandering around finding the plot like the first one. But the first one, a lot of it was baked into the charm of the cast, especially Brendan Fraser's sweet, affable performance. Christopher Showerman does what he can for what he's given, to be fair, but he's not given much, and he's no Brendan Fraser, and you just don't keep reminding yourself how you wish he was Brendan Fraser. Granted, if he was in this, I don't think it would have saved the film either, because it's even more juvenile than the first one. There's even more of the potty humor, which is one of the few things I did not like in the first one. They doubled down on that. I mean, you have an ending, because, okay, the plot, before I get into it, it's George and his wife Ursula, they're in the jungle, and they have a kid who's 5 years old. And I recognize the kid. He's the kid in 2.5 Men. So if you ever watched like 2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen, the kid in that is the kid in this. And the kid does fine. He doesn't do a bad job. Again, it's just not really much of a script. And they're trying to maintain where George has to be split from helping the animals, and the animals need him, but then he wants time for his family as well. Now, granted, I don't know why it's been 5 years and now the animals have an issue with George going from his family to the animals. I'm like, first off, how come it took 5 years for this to happen? Not a year, not a month, 5 years for you damn animals to have an issue. Number two, he had to worry about his family all he wanted. I bet you guys worry about your families. How about I go to your family cave, whatever, and bitch at you about you spend too much time with your kids. Probably maul my face. So shut up. So one thing leads to another. Ursula's mom arrives, and again, there's a bit of friction. Ultimately, they find out that Ape is in trouble in Vegas because Ape owes money. Because that's what it cuts to. In Vegas, where Ape, by the end of the first film, he went to Vegas, he became a singer. Here, he's playing cards, and this is the type of jokes we have. He's playing cards with a guy looking like Elvis, a guy looking like a typical, stereotypical kung fu master with a gone effect at one point. Gong. And a guy pretending to be Kenny Rogers, and each time we see him, he sings a crappy version of The Gambler. You got to know when to fold them. And it wasn't funny the first time, and I love the Gambler song, but it wasn't funny the first time, it wasn't funny the second or third time. And you do tell that this is a much cheaper production. Like I said, the effects in the first one, for 1997, they did what they could. And yes, you can see the CG doesn't hold up the best. But it still looks like Avatar or whatever compared to the effects in this movie. This movie looks a lot cheaper. I mean, all you have to do is just compare both of the elephants who pretend to be like dogs. And you just see just how much cheaper this film looks on that nature. Not only that, but you have the apes and the lip syncing seemed decent in the first one. Here, the lip syncing is, especially for John Cleese, is way off. Consistently off with the lip syncing. Most of the time, his lips do not match what he's saying. The plot. Yes, the plot wasn't much in the first one, but it was pretty straightforward. It was Leslie Mann meets George. George shows her the jungle. Thomas Haden Church is mad. George gets attacked, brought to the city. He's trying to fish out of water. Goes back to save his friend Ape with the help of Leslie Mann and others. There you go. Here, it's okay, domestic disputes. And I'm like, why the hell do kids... Why would kids want to see a George of the Jungle film where the initial premise is marriage troubles and animals that really don't feature much to the plot? Like, there's a lion who does not like George, voiced by Clarke Duncan, may he rest in peace, from The Green Mile and Armageddon. Now, you think his character is going to be a much bigger part, this lion that wants authority, says George isn't fit for it, acts like he should be the leader. But you think it's going to be some kind of development of, oh, George is going to have to fight him, or the lion's going to be working with the bad guys. I did what you want, you did what you want. Because at one point, Thomas Haden Church is able to get this deed, and he gets some bulldozers and people to try to take out the piece of the jungle as you get this battle at the end. But no, the lion sleeps tonight, I guess. Like, maybe he slept for the rest of the movie, because he didn't really do much after a point. And it seemed like it was building up, but it resulted in nothing with the whole lion character. So, what the hell? And the jokes, I actually thought some of the jokes were kind of funny in the first film. Here, a lot of them fell flat. Like the toucan Tootie tootie. He daydreams flying on a plane where the stewardess has a giant toucan beak. So is he daydreaming a sexy, like, human flight attendant? But it's like, well, if she had a beak, then she'd be good looking. I just seem really weird. And oh, and speaking of the plot, when they get to Vegas, there are times where it tries to be Charlie's Angels, and they keep referencing Charlie's Angels for some reason. Just because this year, 2003, I think the sequel, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, was coming out, I think. But at the same time, it's like, why is this Charlie's Angels stuff in this movie? And the angels tell the Ursula that George's not good enough for you. Oh, also in Vegas, they meet a kangaroo named Rocky. He's called Rocky because he boxes. You know what? If that character was in the first movie with a bit better effects, that actually might have worked. A kangaroo named Rocky that likes to fight, and you do like a version of the Rocky theme. That might have worked. I actually like the concept in a goofy, silly kids comedy of a kangaroo named Rocky that when he gets agitated, he likes to box, and you have the Rocky theme playing. Like, that could work, but he's kind of just thrown in there and just pops in whenever it needs him to with some really, really shoddy, shitty looking effects. I mean, they look awful. Shit. Oh, and then it's like, well, now Ursula gets hypnotized, so now she doesn't love George. She loves Thomas Haden Church. And then George and Ape have to escape the casino, like it's trying to be this die-hard action movie. They get to the chopper, and a kangaroo kung fu kicks a guard. And then they get back to the jungle. There's this demolition happening. The narrator, I know he talked a lot in the first movie. It felt like they doubled or tripled down on this with the narrator. I know the narrator appeared throughout the first film, but it seemed very tolerable, and at times actually kind of funny. Here, it seemed much more obnoxious. Even if this was the case in the first film, it didn't feel like I was listening to him every 5 seconds. And I might have been, but it was just either written better or more better utilized. Here, he just would not shut the fuck up. Like, the narrator just kept talking. I'm like, shut up, dude. Just because also the voice of the narrator, they got him back too. So it's like, put as much of him as possible every 5 seconds. And when I said they doubled down on the juvenile stuff, I mean the battle at the end, where they're fighting the bulldozers in the jungle. So I'm like, what is it, Fern Gully? There's these 4 gorillas helping George, and they light their farts on fire to blast bulldozers. And they do that more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. Lighting their farts to blast bulldozers. And then, instead of throwing, coconuts or the toucan and stuff in the first movie, no, they just literally throw elephant crap. Oh, I'm sorry, they call it zug. Because that's one of the things early on where George is talking with the animals, is that the birds keep dropping their zug on the creatures. And the animals are, George, do something about this. Let's have a zug tree so they stop crapping on us. My point, why is it George's problem? Why don't you figure it out? And then so at the end they throw a lot of elephant crap at people. Ursula breaks out of hypnotism, remembers she's in love with George. The kid, he doesn't have a whole lot to do. the stuff in Vegas, the kid kind of disappears and doesn't really have a whole lot of story. And then it's not until like the third act where the kid helps his dad, throw stuff like elephant crap. Thomas Haden Church, the narrator just lifts him and humiliates him. And like the last joke is through the end credit spoilers is that the narrator's talking about how lonely he is, and there's a female voice pops up, and apparently she's the narrator from Mulan. So there you go. I just the first film they referenced the Lion King. Here, voice wise, we reference the name Mulan. So there you go. Again, the jokes seemed a lot more tired, a lot more lazy, a lot more just unfunny. The effects look a lot cheaper, because they are a lot cheaper, because this is a direct-to-video film. Christopher Showerman, I don't know what else he did in life. It'd be hard to replace anybody. It'd be hard to replace Brendan Fraser with anybody. I think acting-wise, he did what he could, but it was just an unneeded sequel. If you didn't have Brendan Fraser and you didn't have the budget, then you just don't make the damn sequel. But it put it out there because kids, if they like the first one, maybe they go see this and they rent it and they're curious and maybe do some goofy stuff with the animals, and hopefully parents will shut their kids up for 90 minutes. But yeah, I thought this film sucked. It was a crappy sequel, literally and figuratively. And like I say, you say the first film didn't have a great plot either, but neither does this. And this one felt like multiple films combined into one. Like it's the domestic dispute and the dispute with the animals bit, then it's the Charles Angels, the Vegas bit, and I don't know, man. It sucks. It sucks. Let's just end it that. It sucks. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.